The White House looks into blocking out the sun. It's probably not the brightest idea. The Barbie movie gets banned in Vietnam. And it wasn't because Barbie has more outfits than the entire population. Plus, Biden promises Bidenomics. I hope he also explains what that is. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Matt Gnesta. And first, the elephant in the room. I'm not Chris Chappell. He'll be back Tuesday. In this week's headlines, Elon Musk announced that Twitter will begin limiting the number of tweets users can read per day. Those limits will be 600 posts a day for unverified accounts, 300 for new unverified accounts, and 6,000 for verified accounts paying $8 a month to subscribe to Twitter Blue. Many users are against this decision and have asked Elon Musk to explain what he means by reading, which is a valid question since half the people on Twitter are illiterate. Musk said the changes were made to address extreme levels of data scraping and system manipulation. But an ex-Twitter employee says she believes these changes were actually made for financial reasons, explaining, "Frankly, I think I'm in a majority of people who believe that it's due to his lack of payment of his bills, and he's attempting to reduce his costs. One of those bills he hasn't paid is to project management company Facilitate, who's suing Twitter for not paying for office services provided in 4 countries. According to Musk, these tweet limit changes are only temporary. He already announced that rate limits would soon increase, first by 33%, then by 66%. I'm surprised he didn't increase it by 420%. Honestly, I don't mind these changes at all. My only issue is that it's backwards. People should pay to see less on Twitter, and also on Meta's Twitter knockoff Threads. The solution to Twitter's problems isn't more Twitter. It's never more Twitter. If I can go the rest of my life without being subjected to this dumpster fire, shut up and take my money." Speaking of terrible ideas, the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy released a report on artificially blocking sunlight to prevent the warming of the planet. This is known as solar geoengineering, or solar radiation modification, SRM for short. There's a lot of debate over blocking out the sun, mainly between Mr. Burns and Xerxes, who argue whether it should be done with a giant metal dish or Persian arrows. This report was in response to a law passed last year that asked the White House to provide guidance on transparency, engagement, and risk management for publicly funded work in solar geoengineering research. Several government organizations are looking into ways to combat rising global temperatures. The 4th of July was the Earth's hottest day ever since records began. Of course, in geological time, records began pretty much yesterday. Now, this report goes on to explain that SRM is worth looking into, saying these unknowns and the ever-evolving understanding of complex Earth systems provide a compelling case for research to better understand both the potential benefits and risks. But some climate scientists are already worrying about those risks. There are multiple open letters asking for bans or non-use agreements for the tech. A lot of the concerned scientists are from India because the computer models keep showing a dire impact on the Indian summer monsoon. So most clientists see the solution and say, boo, except for this guy who said, "I was saying we have to stop sunburns." The Biden administration has no current plans to actually do research into SRM and how to implement it because they just don't understand it well enough yet. Now, the UN feels that SRM is no substitute for reducing emissions, as it won't do anything to actually address air pollution and other environmental concerns. It's kind of like how the best way to lose weight is through a healthy diet and exercise, instead of reflecting sugars and carbs from your mouth. And here's some motivation for reducing emissions. A California startup company, Aleph Automotive, received certification from the Federal Aviation Administration to test what they describe as a flying car. That sounds exciting, but caveat, this company is based in California, probably the last air you want to be flying through. I hope this flying car isn't a convertible. Aleph Automotive predicts their first flying car will be available at the end of 2025 and cost $300,000. Honestly, I'm a little scared of this because if drunk driving wasn't bad enough on the roads, now you have to worry about it in your 11th floor apartment. On the bright side, as someone who lives in New York City, it'll be nice knowing that flying vehicles crashing into the side of your building aren't terrorists, they're just 17-year-olds texting while flying. And after the break, why the Barbie movie got banned in Vietnam. Welcome back. The upcoming Barbie movie has been banned in Vietnam. That's because a scene in the movie features a map which appears to favor China's claims to the South China Sea. This is China's 9-dash line. China says it owns all of this area, and pretty much no other country agrees, especially not Vietnam. And this is the map from the movie. I guess this kind of looks like the 9-dash line. Apparently, she's a Barbie girl, and the Barbie world is kowtowing to China. And last week, the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action in college admissions after reviewing lawsuits brought against the University of North Carolina and Harvard. And this week, 3 civil rights groups are suing Harvard University over legacy admissions, which is the practice of giving preferential treatment to children of alumni. The executive director of Lawyers for Civil Rights, which is one of the organizations filing the lawsuit, said, "Your family's last name and the size of your bank account are not a measure of merit and should have no bearing on the college admissions process." The lawsuit also claims that legacy admissions are discriminatory since they favor white students. So the argument isn't so much that they favor Nepo babies, it's that they favor white Nepo babies. But considering how much money Harvard alumni donate every year and how big their endowment is, I'm pretty sure the only color Harvard sees is green. But hey, why point out an obvious class issue when you can make it part of the never-ending culture war? President Biden agrees, saying that legacy admissions expand privilege instead of opportunity. Biden believes you shouldn't get special treatment just because of who your dad is when it comes to college admissions. You should only get that for criminal charges. You know it's bad when cocaine was found in the White House, and instead of wondering how could that happen, everyone was instead thinking, oh, Hunter must be in town. Something new Harvard is admitting into its facilities is artificial intelligence. An AI chatbot will help teach students in a coding class starting this fall. The CEO of Pactum AI warned that this AI is built from statistical models and that these will come up with most probable answers, and high probability can also mean mediocrity. So professionals need to be there to provide exceptionalism. Trying to find the highest probability for success actually leads to mediocrity? Well, that explains all the Star Wars movies produced by Kathleen Kennedy. Does this mean she's a robot? You'd think an actual droid would produce better sci-fi. The Supreme Court also blocked the Biden administration's student loan forgiveness program. Immediately after, the Biden administration announced alternate routes to debt relief. But it won't be for as much money, and not as many people will qualify for it. They said they're trying to get as much relief as possible as quickly as possible. This is because starting in October, student loan payments will resume for the first time since the pandemic began. On the bright side, with loan repayments starting up again, this gives you an excuse to wear your Halloween costume year-round. Steve? Who's Steve? I'm a spooky ghost. Ooh, good luck getting your money back. Finally, the Supreme Court also ruled in favor of a Colorado web designer, Lori Smith, who argued that being compelled to make a wedding website for a gay couple was against her Christian faith and infringed on her First Amendment rights. Many people are saying that because of this decision, businesses are now free to discriminate against gay people, so long as they claim it's for religious reasons. Although in most cases, businesses that refuse to do business with gay people are really just hurting themselves. I mean, they're leaving money on the table. And really, most companies are not going to refuse to do business with LGBT people on religious grounds, except for the ones that pray to God. They don't end up like Bud Light. However, the man in the claim, identified as Stewart, who asked Smith to make a gay wedding website, told The Hill he never made that request, and he just learned about his supposed connection to the case last week and has been married to a woman for over 10 years. He said, "There's some evidence there which is easily refutable and easily proven to be incorrect and has been in the case filings for the last 5+ years. So it's concerning that that could make it all the way to the Supreme Court without anybody checking." Yeah, it's concerning. Someone should have been informed that this man who's been married to a woman for 10 years is trying to marry a man on the side. Forget religious freedom. This case is about polygamy. Alliance for Defending Freedom, a Christian organization defending Smith, said whether Lori received a legitimate request or whether someone lied to her is irrelevant. No one should have to wait to be punished by the government to challenge an unjust law. So we get to just make stuff up to preemptively challenge unjust laws? In that case, the Patriot Act ate this puppy. Is that true? Who cares? Get to work removing that horrible law, legal nerds. Better late than never. And after the break, job layoffs continue to surge. Welcome back. Nearly 194,000 U.S. employees have been laid off since the start of 2023. And several industries have gone on strike, including Los Angeles hotel workers. Meanwhile, the Screen Actors Guild will likely soon join the Writers Guild, striking in Hollywood. This is a terrible time for American workers, but a golden age for 30-year-old slobs living in their parents' basement. I'm not a lazy freeloader. I'm a victim of America's pre-recession economy. Mom, where are my pizza rolls? Speaking of the economy, President Biden is embracing the term Bidenomics to summarize his goals for the economy.
Well, I believe that every American willing to work hard should be able to get a job no matter where they are. In the heartland, in small towns, in every part of this country, to raise their kids on a good paycheck and keep their roots where they grew up. That's Bidenomics.
I didn't like the hard work part, but keeping my roots where I grew up, heck yeah, gonna stay in this basement forever. Biden acknowledges that the media came up with the term Bidenomics, but he's running with it. Well, maybe not running, more like methodically shuffling and trying not to trip. But he hopes it will condense all his spending plans into one simple buzzword that voters will remember in the next election. See, the heart of Bidenomics is rejecting Reaganomics, the trickle-down theory implemented by President Ronald Reagan. Instead, Biden is focusing on elevating the middle class. Biden said when that happens, everybody does well. The wealthy still do, everybody does well. This vision is a fundamental break from the economic theories that failed America's middle class for decades now. That's optimistic of Biden. Not thinking his plan will work, thinking that America still has a middle class. Man, forget Batman the animated series. The middle class is what I miss most from my childhood. However, the term Bidenomics could end up backfiring, since it also makes it easier for Republicans to have one easy buzzword to attack Biden for policies they say left U.S. citizens worse off since he entered office. I gotta say, Biden running on the economy is a bold move, since economists say at best it's too early to tell if his policies will be successful. This is like Elmer Fudd running for president on a platform of giving everybody Wabbit burgers. That's very, very confident of him. But jokes aside, I do actually hope that this plan succeeds. Because if this plan succeeds, then America succeeds. And Americans are going to need all the money they can get if they want to pay to never see any tweets ever again. Seriously, shut up and take my money, Elon. So what do you think about the stories we covered this week? Leave your comments below. And if you want to help us deliver nonpartisan news, support America Uncovered by going to patreon.com/America Uncovered. All it takes is $1 or more per episode to help us keep making great videos. Once again, I'm Matt Gnezda. Eyes up here, ladies.